Hi Pisces, welcome to your February 2019 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So Pisces, wow, this is pretty interesting because this is your birthday month, at least those of you in the first decanate, which is the first 10 degrees. So happy birthday to you and happy birthday to all Pisces because this is your solar return period. Of course, it's not officially official until your actual birthday, but just I think you're going to feel when that sun enters Pisces on the 18th that you are like, wow, okay, I'm back in my own skin. I feel great. But I will say one thing. When the sun is in the 12th house, a lot of times people feel like kind of like tired, hibernating. And for you, because you rule the 12th house with your ruler Neptune, this can feel also comfortable for you. So, I think of like the 12th house as like this sea, the spiritual sea that you're kind of floating on. And then all of a sudden you jump out of the water and you're fully out of that ocean, and now you are kind of like more active and into the world, whereas the 12th house is kind of hidden away from the world. It's kind of like waking up from a dream state, and your mind though is still going to be in that dream state because the Mercury is still in that 12th house in Aquarius. And so anyway, on the 3rd, Venus goes into Capricorn, and that is your 11th house of hopes and wishes. But I want to state that until the 3rd, you have both Venus and Jupiter, both in Sagittarius, in that 10th house of career. So if you're listening in January, going into February, just understand that this is happening right now, and you're probably experiencing a boost to your career in some way, very possibly financial, but definitely harmony with this area of life. And then Venus goes into the 11th house. And this is your groups that you belong to, friendships. And you could meet somebody if you're single and looking. You could find love through your social network. And this is a great time for socializing when Venus is in the 11th house. I think of the 3 of Cups in the Tarot. You can also, since Venus can be connected to money, you might have some kind of product that you're putting out there. Like, let's say you have an Etsy shop and you make some kind of jewelry. And you say to yourself, you know what, why don't I just start with my circle of friends and see if anyone wants to buy it there and have them spread the word, wear my jewelry, and I can just get free advertisements from advertising from my friends. And they're going to be a willing customer, so I'm going to start with them. So Venus in Capricorn is already very pragmatic, and in the 11th house, you're trying to capitalize on your friendships to make more money in some way. This can also be about attracting money to you. Venus is the attractor that can help you make your dreams come true, whatever they happen to be. And then on the 4th, we have a new moon in Aquarius in your 12th house. So new beginnings in this area that is behind the scenes, that can be about past lives. That can be about any kind of spiritual matters. Maybe you have joined a new spiritual center or started a new spiritual practice. It certainly would be a great time for that. And it's interesting because Aquarius is intuitive like Pisces is. So it may be something along these lines, and maybe even you're starting to understand how you are kept from, how you keep yourself from your good in life by allowing things to kind of hold you back. The 12th house can be addictions. It can be, and they call it the house of self-undoing. So any way that we trip ourselves up, that leads us to not manifest what we want. So you may be looking at these things with a new eye and, being very positive and can-do spirit about it to see how you can change these things. On the 10th, Mercury goes into Pisces, so into your first house. Now, this can be very good for you promoting yourself in some way. If you have a particular area that you need to do so. So for instance, if you're looking for a job, when Mercury is in your own sign, you are in alignment with describing who you really are. Because I was going to say one of the unfortunate things when you do an interview is that they tend to say, well, tell me about yourself. Tell me who you are. And a lot of times we get like kind of at a loss for words because we never really think about talking about ourselves. And maybe, when somebody says to you, what's one good thing about you, you might have a hard time thinking about it just because you never think that way, not because you can't actually find something good about yourself. But it's just one of those weird things, almost like a gotcha question, where they try to see if you're going to answer right away, and then they judge. They're always like trying to scrutinize us, aren't they, into how we react to certain things. So maybe you'll be very on top of your game in this way. And even if you're looking for a love relationship, it's always nice to have somebody who is who knows who they are, who can express who they are. And so that if somebody says, well, what is it that you want to do in life? And then you can actually answer them because your sun and your Mercury are both in the same sign, in your sign, and you feel that strong identity that sometimes, quite frankly, Pisces people don't feel. Sometimes you kind of are the chameleon that changes according to the environment that you're in. So that's going on. And then on the 14th, Mars goes into Taurus, which is a friendly angle to you, a sextile. Mars has been in the second house in Aries as I record this, and that gives you a sense of urgency. You want to make that money. You want to hustle, and you may be working overtime. It's after the holidays. You may have spent money like a drunken sailor, and now you're ready to pay those bills and make that money. Now Mars is in the third house, and your aggression is, directed towards your speech patterns. So make sure that you're not talking in too aggressive a manner. But also, the third house can be your immediate environment and neighbors. So this could be a conflict with a neighbor. This can be brothers and sisters, so conflict with them. Or just simply, that might be too much focusing on the negative. It could be that it's that you are more active with these people for some reason, more active in your local environment, more active with your siblings or cousins or aunts and uncles. And then the sun goes into your sign on the 18th, and we end the month the very next day. Well, of course, we don't end the month the next day, but there is a full moon in Virgo, which is the second of 3 supermoons in a row here, and the biggest one, supposedly, and this is on the 19th. And this is at 0 degrees of Virgo. And this is your 7th house of committed partnership. So a full moon in the 7th house, for people who have had kind of rocky relationships, this may be the final straw. This can be a time when you find out something about your partner, what they're really up to, if they've been lying to you. The full moon, especially since it's a super moon, it might really just highlight, yep, no, they were doing this. They're lying. And this could bring things to a head. So it's kind of like, it could be like a do or die situation. It might not necessarily be the ending, although sometimes it can be. But it could be like, okay, it's a crisis. It's coming to a head. It's coming to the crisis point. Or it could be that you take that plunge. Maybe you realize, okay, we've been living together and I want to be married. And I really feel this strong sense that we're going to be together for the rest of our lives. Let's just tie the knot, and I want to have children or whatever. And you just want that feeling of doing something that is permanent and maybe ceremonial. Okay, well, that's what I have for you, Pisces. I hope that you enjoyed this. And if you'd like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.